Okay.
Hi,
See if I can, there, am I there? Okay.
hi Ellen.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I was frantically trying to get ready for this in the last hour, but that's called cramming. So we'll see how it goes. How are you doing?
Good,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I appreciate you like scheduling this so I could participate.
Yeah, no, that's great. Where are you headed to?
We rented a house in Hilton Head.
Oh,
And
that's pretty nice. Yeah.
supposed to be leaving tomorrow, but I think
Oh.
we're gonna postpone it a day because of the weather.
You're driving?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I wonder if school will be called off. We'll see.
They called it off in Lynn, I heard.
I saw that, and Peabody, a couple other places, so we'll see. The reason I even care is that my daughter teaches at the school, and she's flying in tonight because she had something she had to go to out on the West Coast, and I thought, well, at least her flight will make it, but I don't know
Right,
if she'll work tomorrow, which actually might be nice for her to not have to
right,
hit the
right.
ground. But anyway, yeah. So
Good.
yeah. So well, I'll wait till everybody comes on, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we're a little bit early.
Yeah.
I went to the concert, Katarina's concert
Oh, you did? Oh, great.
on
Yeah.
Saturday night. It was lovely,
Oh, I bet it
really
was
nice.
awesome. Yeah. I mean, just like you said, her house, so and it's so special, and of course the music is top notch. So I was away, so I wasn't able to go, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I
She
had,
said she had a full house, so
yeah,
that's
it was a good crowd.
yeah, that's
And the
great.
Haunts who's who, I think.
Oh yeah.
But
Well,
it's so enjoyable to hear music in person, and even more so to be up that close, you know.
right. Yeah, yeah,
It was
that's
really good.
true. Yeah, yeah. Oh, we are early. The last time I was not early, and I thought, oh, I'm sort of like the last person there, so I wanted to make sure I was one of the first ones. So anyway.
Okay, you got
Have you
stuff
done,
to do?
have you done the Hilton Head before in the winter?
No, no, we used to go to Florida, to Sanibel Island, like the past 10 years. We, did an Airbnb, and then last summer we were there for March, and it was so hot. I bring my 2 golden retrievers, and it was miserable for them. The humidity was high, so it was miserable for me. And so we decided to try Hilton Head. Mike has a cousin there that we visited, and so we'll see how it goes. The good thing is it's only 2 days to get to Hilton Head, whereas it was 3, Florida.
Yeah.
So,
Are you guys golfers?
yeah, but not like super golfers, kind of like hackers.
Yeah. I've never golfed, but I know that's a big thing down there. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of out of my league, but we're bringing bikes, and
Oh, nice.
my brother and sister-in-law from Maine will be flying in, so I'm hoping it'll be fun.
Yeah, definitely. Always nice to have a change of pace in March. March seems to be the longest month.
It does, I mean, I love snow, but I'm just so tired of it right now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You're a skier, right?
Yeah. I'm just hitting the ground running with the snow this year because we finally have some. So we did a lot of skiing and cross country over the last week or so. So it's nice to see it. So
Yeah.
I think it'll actually probably hold a little bit into March, which hasn't been the case the last few years. So
Right.
So yeah, so it should be good. So I don't know. I know you go to Maine a lot. Do you guys ski up there or?
I just went cross-country skiing with the 2 grandkiddos over
Yeah.
the weekend, and that was nice. I haven't done downhill in about 10 years.
Yeah.
I'd like to do it, but no,
Yeah.
everybody I know either has knee replacements or hip replacements, and they don't want to try it.
I
So
know. I definitely take my time, and I'm a lot more cautious than I used to be. Actually, my cross country skis that I got I got new ones that are wider. They're actually a little closer to like the old style downhill skis that we used to wear, and they have edges.
Uh-huh.
Because I just felt, I just didn't feel safe on the skinny ones,
Yeah.
because, Josh likes to go, hardcore.
Right.
So it's hard for me. I'm like, I need better skis if I'm going to keep up. So that's been actually a really nice thing, because I can actually do hills without worrying that I'm going to fall and things. So
Yeah.
'cause sometimes I think falling on cross country skis can be worse because they're so long and they don't come off, so.
I had to Google how to get up after I fell because I couldn't seem to do it.
I have to take my skis off. I can't do it with them on. If you got up with them on, that's pretty good. I can't do that. So anyway.
Hi, Katerina.
Oh, is somebody on?
I think
I don't
so.
see Katerina.
Yes, hi,
Hello?
hi, Ellen. How are you doing?
Oh, hi. Oh, I see you now. I had to increase the screen. Hello. I heard your concert was wonderful.
Yeah, it was so nice. Peg was there, right? I didn't get a chance to talk to you. I'm sorry about that.
There were a lot of people to talk to. It was a very enjoyable evening, but the music was to die for.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun and it was very exciting.
Yeah.
Hi, Ken.
Hi.
Hi, Ken.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, like
That's better. Well, here's bye.
Mhm. Hi, bye.
Hello,
Hello.
Hello.
how are you all?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm gonna try and do two screen thing here. Hang on a second.
I was
There
gonna
we
say,
go.
I thought you were Blue Man Group tonight, but it looks like you're getting less blue.
Ken, Katerina, Peg, Ellen, great.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm trying to do right now is get this document open so I can take minutes.
Is there gonna be snow tonight? Because I got the town parking ban.
yeah,
Yes.
It's gonna be
Yes.
off the street by 8 o'clock.
and all tomorrow.
Well,
All tomorrow? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah.
And then more later in the week.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
I just had to move my Tufts class to Zoom for tomorrow night, which means I don't have to drive. Good thing.
That's nice. Yeah. Hi,
Hello,
Regina. How are you?
Hello. I'm good.
Hi,
How are
Jean.
you?
Hello.
Give Tanya 1 minute. See.
Mhm.
I'm getting myself organized here. Hang on a second.
I'm just gonna run and grab my phone. I will be back.
Mhm.
There we go. Trying to get, hi, Regina.
Hey, bye. How are you?
Good.
Good to see you all. Not in person, but at least can see your faces.
I don't know. I'm assuming Tanya's coming, but I have not heard otherwise, so. I'll give her 1 more minute and then we'll start. I don't have a way to call her. I was just checking that, but
I could text her. I have her cell phone.
okay.
Hold on. Tanya. Here we go.
Oh, okay. She just sent me a thing that she's trying to find the meeting, so I will send it back to her. the
Okay.
information. So,
Okay.
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 I need the space because I'm just, I'm running two screens. I'm trying to get this. think I've got it.
Having connection issues, so let's see.
Good. I'm ready. We've got two screens going. High tech for me.
I don't know if she emailed me or,
Oh, she just texted. Oh, she just called me. Hold on one second.
you know what, yeah, because I'm having trouble with my phone and I'm trying to get back to
Um,
her. Let's
she-
see.
She just called me. I will call her back.
Hey,
Hi, Tanya.
are you on the meeting?
Yes, I am. Do you have the link?
No, I don't. I go into the calendar and the calendar's wrong to me. It says the 30th and 31st for Monday and Tuesday. It should be the 27th. I don't see it.
Slide down, slide all the way down to the 27th.
I just sent her the link to it.
Ellen
So-
just sent you the link
Email.
through
I don't
email. You should
Oh,
have
I
it.
see it. I see it. Yeah. Okay. Great. Thanks.
Okay, good.
And then it should just go right into it. Well,
Yeah.
so now I have the link. Yes, but then, oh, I see.
You have to
Wait.
cut and paste, yeah.
What do I have to do?
I just I copied the link and then it gave me the option to open it in Zoom already. Does it work?
I don't see the link. I see.
So where are you? Are you in your
Oh, I
emails?
see it now. I see it. Sorry.
Okay.
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 So
Probably have to cut and paste the link. I had to cut
Yeah.
and paste the link.
I had to cut and paste the link too.
let me try this here.
Yep.
Some people say they had to cut and paste the link.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. Okay,
Okay.
great. Yep, it's doing it. Thank you.
It's
Okay,
doing it?
bye.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
bitte. Okay, she should be in a second.
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah, I think, yeah,
Good
there
time.
she is.
Yay. Hi, Tanya.
Hi.
How you doing?
Okay, how are you?
Good, fine. Good
Okay.
to see you. Isn't this great? We're all here.
Yeah, that's
Looking
really
for all those date hoops.
Wow, that was quite the rigmarole.
Bravo, Ellen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Persistence.
Bravo, Ellen. You did just
Oh.
so great.
So
So
we're
patient.
officially opening the meeting for the Nahant Cultural Council, and our first on the agenda is to approve the minutes that Vi sent out. So did anybody get a chance to look at them?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes.
Yes, I second.
Second. Yeah.
In favor?
Yes. Aye,
Okay.
Who
have
seconded,
accept-
please? Who seconded?
I did.
Yeah.
Tanya.
Mhm.
Okay. And then the next item on the agenda is to approve the Nahant Annual Town Report submission that I wrote in conjunction with Jim, who was the prior chairperson. That goes into the Nahant Annual Town Report book that we get for town meeting. So every committee and council writes a yearly report and it goes in there. So that, I hope everybody had a chance to look at that, and definitely open to feedback. I know I had a couple of typos, which I will and have corrected in my draft on my computer, but I didn't send you a corrected draft, but it was just some typo things. So any comments on that?
Look good to me.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Yes.
There was one thing that Jim wanted to add, and it was about the Wilkinson's Young Singers Fund. And he wanted to create, add a link or I don't know if it was an email or a phone number that people could call to donate money, but I don't think that that's allowed or appropriate in a town publication to do that. So I did not include that. So if that comes up outside of our meeting from somebody saying, why wasn't that included? It's just not, it's not appropriate to do that in a town printed thing to solicit funds for something. So, so anyway, but I did mention it as a fund that provides assistance. So if anybody's interested in that, they could go and do searches or inquire on their own. So everything okay with it otherwise?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
do I hear a motion to accept this as our submission?
I'll make the motion. Look, Connie, you can make the motion. I'll second it.
Great. I'll make the motion. You second it. So we'll do.
Everybody's eye on it?
I,
Aye.
Okay, great. So that's two things right off the bat that are done. Next thing is council community outreach ideas. And I just wanted to kind of open that up to everybody. I'll preface that by saying we may want to form subcommittees, and Vi also had that suggestion for our online description for our website on the Mass Cultural Council to create a subcommittee, and then those committees could report back. And because it's hard to get 7 people together and talk about something in the moment. So that I just wanted to put out there, but opening up to discussion at this point. Anybody have any particular goals that came to mind for next year's cycle?
well, I just want to jump in, Ellen, and say those samples that Vi and everyone sent were great for what should be, and I think would be if we just, I don't think we have to reinvent the wheel. I think it's just adapting those that fits our needs. You know, we've got the state guidelines, we've got the samples from Marblehead, Swampscott and all, and they looked very good. I think it's just like sort of cutting and pasting what makes sense
Right.
or not.
Yeah.
And I also think then that would cut down some of those applications we had to review that were just kind of generic going out to every single community.
Right.
So that's my,
Yes. I agree. I think making it a local connection is a good first step in that goal. And guidelines. I think, yeah, then you don't get those random ones that just they send out to every community to see if they can get some money for whatever, which is fine to do. But if we want to streamline that, that's a good idea to start for sure. So are you suggesting that we might be able to do that here tonight rather than create a subcommittee to review and report?
well,
So.
you're asking me about that? When-
Anybody? Yeah.
I would think that, when is our next meeting though?
Well, we haven't picked that yet, but
How
probably
long?
not, probably April, I would say.
So do we need to get this set beforehand though, correct?
If we need to have it set by August, it's not urgent, but it's something that we might want to set before then, because then that will give people in the community the idea of what they might want to, what they could apply for and what we're looking for. So, but you know, it's really just, like you said, it's sort of not reinventing the wheel. It's just making sure that the priorities that we have are in line with what we all think they should be. And one of them that did come to light, one town requires you can only apply 3 years in a row or receive 3 years in a row, which I think on paper sounds good, but in a community like this, it probably doesn't work because Delvina always does for the, the senior center. That's like a, long-standing thing. And, the school always wants a grant, and the cultural and the Nahant Historical Society. So I think that would be too limiting for Nahant based on what we have. So things like that, I guess, would be something that we should talk about, and maybe I just did.
What's the difference between local priorities and local guidelines? Because it seemed to me in looking at these samples or the towns of Swampscott, Marblehead, Beverly, that there was pretty much of an overlap with what some people described as priorities versus guidelines.
Yeah. Well, there probably is, I guess, because the priorities might guide the guidelines, if that makes sense. So, but they're both on the website, correct, Vi? I'll have to go back to the website and look.
I picked these all off of the Mass Cultural Council website.
Right. So they're looking for those. So maybe we could, as a group, go through one of them, like pick one. Which Vi do you think would be the most relevant for us to go through, having you did the most research on this? Which town seemed more in line with what you were thinking?
If I could say, I was impressed by Ipswich, what they listed
Okay.
under the
Okay.
priorities, except for the first one, but the support of community projects by local artists, I think is important. Applications initiated by or involving a resident, listed as a contact person, and community-wide gatherings, festivals, blah, blah, blah. To me, all those made sense. And when I looked at these, I tried to say, well, what did we fund this year? And what we would come up with for priorities and guidelines, would this year's funding fit under those?
Okay,
And I think they do.
okay. So can we do it this way? Can I go through the Ipswich one and we can all say whether we think that's important to us or not? That may be a good starting point. So Ipswich, their priorities are arts education in the schools. That might be too specific for our council.
Yeah.
And we only have primary school.
Right, and they do often apply for grants, but they're not always arts and that kind of in education. So we won't. So right now we're thinking that wouldn't be something we would want to limit ourselves by. Support of community projects by local artists.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
that's important.
Yeah, applications initiated by or have an Ipswich resident or contact person. Yeah.
Yes.
And community-wide gatherings, festivals, concerts, plays, and performances.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Vi, I remember at the last meeting, you mentioned something, or maybe a couple meetings ago, I'm having something like a local arts festival with photography and things. So I don't know if we need a priority for something like that, or if it would fall under one of these that we just talked about.
I don't think it needs to be a prior, well, I don't know, I mean, not necessarily.
Yeah.
I have to say I had a great,
It kind of falls into one of those categories anyway, doesn't it?
Community projects by local artists, maybe, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then the guidelines read, does not directly fund programs that originate from outside of Ipswich. Originate, maybe not the right word, but aren't connected to, because, for example, the theater production at the Cultural Council does originate from outside Nahant, but it's a performance in Nahant. So probably just have to tweak the wording on that better for our needs. Must be an Ipswich resident or make first contact with a representative. So the more, I think that one's fine too. Not intended to be used as a sole source of funding. I don't know if we want to bound that by people. So, I mean, it might be that that's the only source that somebody might have.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Are there other thoughts on that?
I like the second sentence under that bullet point, that they encourage applicants to find additional sources of funding if needed.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so maybe just skip the first part as the sole, it can't be the sole source. Yeah. Okay. So that's all of Ipswich's stuff. So that was a start. So one thought is,
I'd like to add that, I don't know, don't have three screens, and I didn't do a screen, not doing a screen share. That's a little beyond me, but what was I gonna say? Oh, it just went straight through my head. Let's see, it was seeking other funding, Ipswich residents. Oh, I know. So I can't remember which one it was, but I really like they're giving dates, deadlines, telephone numbers, like this application process information, so it's not so fuzzy.
that's a good idea.
Good point.
So
Yeah.
and Marblehead says each MCC funded project must be completed within the calendar year of the grant, with funding expiring on December 31st of the grant year. Was that what you were thinking?
Not specifically, just in general, I think it's good to have our stuff up there so there's no confusion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so I can do this. I can put something together, and if it's all right with the council, I'll share it with Vi, and get her opinion on it, and then I will send it to each individual to look at it before our next meeting. Does that sound like a plan?
Yes, great, thank you.
Okay. All right, does that work fine for you?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So I think I kind of get where everybody kind of wants to be on that, so
Yeah.
that's good. So does anybody have any particular goals for the council in the next grant cycle? Is there anything, any type of program that we should reach out to the community to encourage?
I would like to focus on children or youth.
Okay.
And I would like to focus on programs that, not that we're a particularly diverse community, but that promote diversity, that promote diversity.
Great.
I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very in line with what the Mass Cultural Council is encouraging right now. So that's a great angle for us to think about for sure. And other towns in my research are really focusing on that right now, especially in the last grant cycle. I'm from Milton, Ken, I know you know Milton well, and they really have been pushing that a lot this year, and I'm happy to see that. So anyway, so let's see. The next thing is, so we don't need a subcommittee. We think we're okay with where we're at on right now for that stuff. And does anybody have anything else they want to talk about at the meeting for new business?
Well,
Oh, Regina. Go ahead, Vi, you go first.
I had a really interesting conversation with Diane Dunphy in Town Hall, our town clerk. And she recalls back in the day that without any kind of format, it was just sort of announced that down at the wharf, everybody bring their arts and their stuff and their creations and just put it out. And it was like a party. It wasn't a contest. There were no judges. It was just everybody bringing their stuff. I don't know if you remember that. Anybody?
Oh.
I remember the arts down at the wharf. If you mean people bringing arts, pictures and paintings and and crafts. Yeah, I remember that. Like I'm talking, over 30 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
She has fond memories of the wharf and the park being
Yeah.
just a center for it without structure. It's not that I'm fostering that, but I think the spirit of that is might be something to look at.
That would be great, and that would be really easy school and diversity, I think. So there's a lot of options that could spread different directions. So
When was that last done?
probably 30 years ago.
Are you serious? Okay. I certainly don't know.
Yeah.
There was a really strong group of artists that were very active in town for a period of time in the 70s, 60s, late 60s and 70s. And that was the real driver for art in Nahant. And so, and we still have a lot of artists here. So we still have a lot of people that could do that. It just, way to create an opportunity for people like to get together in that way. So that would be awesome. That could be a culture sponsored, a council sponsored event as well.
So what kind of format do people, were there like tables set up or?
Yeah.
Diane said they just stuck stuff on the wall. They brought easels, they put out tables,
Yeah.
just a total free for all. And it was all ages and just like a little festival, like a spur of the moment festival type thing that just people had a really good time. I'm not saying we should do that. I'm just saying there is that concept. There is that idea. Although I still would love to see an art show. I mean, actually I would really like to see a photography show, which I've talked about nonstop, because I don't think photography's gotten much attention in this town. And kids just loved it. I mean, I see my grandchildren, kids, people from all ages see world through a different lens, as it were. And it'd be just so much fun to open up that window and see how people see things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of comments. One is that, just even sort of saying people show up and display things and all that is going to take coordination.
Right.
And someone has to own it. And, you know, it could certainly work. I mean, Ellen, you mentioned a, you know, a council supported event, and that could be great. But again, someone has to do the publicity. I mean, it's someone has to own it and do the work.
Mhm.
I think I'm all for doing more with the arts too. And, you know, for those of you might remember, you know, the shows that we did at the country club with the local artist.
Mhm.
Those ran for several years. They were well attended. It was just a weekend. I honestly can't remember who organized them. I know that the Whitlocks were very involved and I went to help set up, but I can't tell you who actually
Yeah.
did it. And the work was for sale. But there were some great things.
Mhm.
We also at one point did a pop-up exhibition at the Ellingwood Chapel of watercolors. Actually, it was Stoyan Maksimovic, Regina, across the street. And he had some beautiful watercolors, and we just did a pop-up one weekend, and people did show up. It was fun. Again, someone has to take ownership and organize. Vi, that would be, you know, something that could easily be done with photography. We have photographers on Nahant, you know, they show and some sell at the Christmas fair.
Mhm.
But there's others who we know of who, you know, I mean, there's Robert Wilson. I could name, you know, a half a dozen people off the top of my head. So
Yeah.
I think those are all good ideas. It's just a matter of how much time and energy we as a committee have to do that. And that's not saying we don't. Someone may want to own it and do it.
Mhm.
I think it's a really good idea, and I think it fits some of these priorities that we were just briefly talking about, you know, that Ipswich also has. Just a couple of thoughts about it, because I know Jim did these May Day or Art, Nature, Nahant fairs at East Point, and I know he ran into costs, I think, for needing police detail for something
Okay.
that was outside and had traffic and had parking. So I think it would be good to think about the venues, the extent of what we're going to do at that venue and the costs associated with it. At the same time, it may be that if you, I'm not saying we should do this, but if you charge for table space, you're either able to offset some of those expenses, or in fact, you're able to add to the kitty. I mean, what struck me is going through some of these sample towns that Vi sent out was, you know, we don't have a lot of money typically
Right.
to put out, and, you know, performers should get fairly paid. So, you know, is there a way we can do a little fundraising on our own?
Yeah.
But I would be more than willing to try to, you know, work with anyone to try to outline what are the different factors, you know, related to venues and costs and income that may be appropriate for us.
Mhm. Okay.
So, does anybody remember the art show in town hall some years ago?
Yes.
For
Yeah.
East Point.
To me,
Yeah.
that was just like totally wonderful. I mean,
Yeah.
I just thought that was so amazing. And that's kind of, I guess that's the format that I saw. So that, I think my concept in my back of my mind is that the people who would like to show their art, the people who would like to show their photography, they would come forward with a leader and make a proposal to us to help fund them. Sort of, that's kind of like the mechanism I saw. I have no idea if that's how it worked before.
Mhm.
More
So that's kind of,
successful- Oops, sorry.
that's okay. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it might be more successful if we actually, you know, reached out to a few people and asked if they would be willing to take that on rather than just kind of throw it out there and hope that someone would take it on.
That makes sense.
I don't know. I mean, I can't remember, who, I know the Whitlocks were very involved. I mean, perhaps we could reach out to them and see if they would like to take some, they're both retired now. It's not that means they're not doing things, but you know what I mean? That's just an idea. I think it might just work better if we reached out to a few people to see if they would be willing to maybe organize a committee and take the lead on it. I mean, I think it's a great idea. I do. I'm all for it. It's just the structure and how it's actually going to work.
And that kind of leads into our community outreach plans. What's our, the thing is, it's not a ton of money that we have. I mean, this year we actually had sort of a big bump in funding, but I mean, generally 5,500 is where it's going to fall. It's not a ton of money, but still, I think, we're supposed to do outreach and make sure that everybody's aware that we're here and there's money to be had, and encourage as many people as possible to get involved and want to be, part of the process. So has anybody thought about that? I mean, reaching out to individuals, Ken, I think is a really good idea if we want to do something very specific, like encourage a photography or art show. But in general, letting the public, I don't think a lot of people know how it works, the Cultural Council. And I think it would be great to have more awareness in the community. And I do think one of our criteria from the Mass Cultural Council is we're supposed to get community input. They don't tell you how to do it, but they have suggestions, one being a survey. My experience with surveys is they're not very effective. Basically, the people who fill it out are the people who are already aware of it in the first place. So I don't know if there's any magic potion other than that, though. So does anybody have any thoughts on that?
I kind of like Ken's ideas, approaching people that we know are involved in areas that we're interested in. My other idea is a youth orchestra concert. I've never heard anybody young from our high school or our middle school or anything else ever play an instrument. Yeah, and I know the Flackers have kids in school that play instruments, and I never heard them play. Approach them, approach people that we know are involved in whatever it is we're interested in, and say, "You're interested in picking up this?" I must say, Tony Barletta is really keen to have a Ellingwood Chapel being used. And that is small. So it is very small, but for smaller events, it's good. But, it's the town hall. That's where you can put on a real extravaganza.
Okay. Well, outreach is something we have some time to think about. It doesn't, they're supposed, we have till August to really, get the word out if people are looking to apply for grants. So
would it be possible, Ellen, to look at what we've funded for this year and have some blurb written up in either a flyer or whatever they are using for advertisement, or even on Facebook, this event is, sponsored in part by the Nahant Cultural Council, and it's our job or it's, we function as blah, blah, blah. So at least people get the idea that there is a formal council and we contribute to, doing things in Nahant. I mean, I had no idea before I got involved what the Nahant Cultural Council did. So.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, are you thinking, well, I'm not sure if you are thinking, but is the thought that you could have a website, a Facebook page that was the Nahant Cultural Council? I mean, is that like?
Well, even just simpler than that. So if we were going to the Ken's presentation on the artist, I forget his name, that he is sponsoring this summer.
Oh, the Norman Le Liberté.
Yeah, sorry,
yeah.
thank you.
Sure.
If there was even a flyer as people walked in the building, that talked about the Nahant Cultural Council, or if Ken had, a brochure or something, and there's a little blurb at the bottom, that this is supported by the Nahant Cultural Council. At least we're initially getting the word out that we're actually doing something here in town.
Right, that is a requirement for grant recipients to acknowledge their support by their local and by the Mass Cultural Council. That's actually a requirement. It may kind of fall under the radar, maybe in people actually realizing that what that really means in the background, but that is a requirement. So, but yeah, that's important that people who go to things know that it's funded by this or partially funded by this. So, so yeah, thanks. But yeah, so I don't know if there's like, I'm not on Facebook, so I don't know what the, if that's a good way to get the word out on things.
From
I'm
my
not sure.
experience, Swim has a website, a Facebook page. It's all just a waste of time. I mean, if I really want to get something out there, I just put a posting on Nahant residents' Facebook and everything. Gets it.
Yeah.
Just people
But
aren't.
I
gonna
think
do that
that's a
as
good
a-
idea.
Yeah, I agree. That. I think people really are very active on the Nahant town's Facebook site. So if if that's possible, that we just, announce whoever wants to be sponsored. I don't know if this is appropriate, but I think artists have to approach the council. We cannot just approach artists and say, would like to give you money. I think it has to be the other way around. We can encourage people to come to us. I think there's
Right.
a regulation there, but I agree with Vi. So if you can just put the word out through the Facebook site, then there might be great response, because I do know in my neighborhood, there are crafts, there's a little crafts community, and they do their own thing there. They put it up on Facebook website, and it's so wonderful, twice a year. And I think this is, if people gather, it's just really, really nice.
Yeah, it really is nice, isn't it? I assume you've all witnessed this, right? The little craft community, people put their stuff in it. It's really nice.
Yeah, Cliff Street, this neighborhood over there.
So the outreach really has two goals. One is to get the word out that what the council's for and how it works, but also to find out what the community feels it needs for art and culture. So I think, there's two things there, and that's where like the Mass Cultural Council really advises people to do outreach in finding out what people really want in their community. So again, like I said, surveys, they're not that successful, but maybe if we can all sort of brainstorm other ways. One thought is, and I'm not sure how effective this would be either, but present something at a Board of Selectmen's meeting where you have a captive audience and say, if people have ideas, please reach out to the council, and think, maybe looses that, or send something to the schools and other, even just people who have gotten, anyway, that's a thought. So we can think about that. So we don't need to decide that tonight, but something to think about, because it is sort of a guideline for Mass Cultural Council to make sure you're getting community input. So
One of the towns that we got their page on from Vi talked about having a meeting it sounded like it was in early fall, where they invited people to come and learn if their effort might get funded, or they were just curious about the work that they did. And so that's another idea.
That's what
That
the
is
Community Preservation Committee does. They have
I'm
always,
sorry,
the Community Preservation Commission does that, CPC, for their grants.
oh, right, yeah.
Start the year with an information meeting. That's a really interesting idea, Peg.
Yeah, that is a good idea. I
Yeah.
like that. Okay.
And
so
that we
we'll-
could, and this one we could advertise easily on the Facebook, Nahant Facebook community
Right.
website.
Right.
Mhm.
Spread the word. So, and to it early in advance before the deadline of the grant applications. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I
That is
love
a
that
great
idea.
idea.
That's a really
So we'll put that as idea number one under outreach ideas.
Mhm.
So, well, I think Regina has some reports to give us about her work on the treasurer's account.
Sure, not very interesting, but it's regarding the payment. So I had a meeting with Allison at the town hall, basically just trying to understand what is the process to, make the payment to grant receivers. So it's actually pretty straightforward. All she needs is an invoice of payment. Basically, just, we have to describe each grant recipient's name and address, amount granted, and a short description of the performance services or activities to be performed. And that's all she needs. And then she will, cut the check and make the payment out to the grant receivers. And so with that, I think we already have that, like the list of, we make the decision already. But is there an existing report?
Yes, I can, it's on our Mass Cultural Council website, so it should be, I will send that to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the other thing is if the grant receiver is brand new, then I will fill out a W-9 form. But that's all. But name and address of the receivers, that's enough. Grant amount, that's enough information to get it going. The other thing is the payment will typically made after the performance. For example, like a musical concert. But we did talk about like services or the program like Nahant Historical Society, to put together the exhibition, maybe certain cost will occur before the exhibition, or program, starts. And Allison is like, sure, she can make an exception and to cut the check earlier. So basically, she's very flexible to support, basically, again, provide or send the payment out to grant receivers. And then lastly, she will send the financial reports periodically, especially after the grants money was sent out. And so we know, how much money we have left, if any.
Okay.
And I will share the information with you all in our meeting.
Okay. Great. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate
No
it.
problem.
Okay, and I'll send you that. I'll get that to you tonight. And that actually leads into one other thing on the Mass Cultural Council website, our own, I'm gonna shrink everything down. The part where we're all listed, I don't know if you guys have perused the site much and signed into our own cultural council, but there's the, I sessioned out. Everybody's name is listed in there under our
Contacts.
contacts and yes. So some people are not listed properly, and I guess I'm asking everybody to go in and make sure that they're listed properly. And there's a few email addresses associated with, particularly with Katerina and Tanya. For some reason, you have addresses that aren't accurate, email addresses that aren't accurate. One has that old, that got me into a bit of mess this week, that old Nahant Cultural Council at gmail.com. That's under you, Katerina. So you need to go in and change that for me. That would be appreciated, so nobody sees that anymore. And then Tanya, for some reason, Hugh Sampson's email is associated with your name. So if you go in, I don't know, it must be, maybe they changed one thing, but they forgot to change, and it's just in the same box that he was in. So if you could go in and update that as well.
Sure, great.
That and just everybody, maybe when you get a chance, make sure that those are the two that I picked up on, but maybe there's other things that I missed out. So you could just check and make sure your profile is accurate.
Okay.
3 of us who were listed a second time on that contacts page.
Yes, right. So you can maybe delete, I'm not sure, but I'll talk to Carolyn Cole about that part of it to make sure that.
Yeah, I did email her, and she said that the grants management team has to delete it, that
Oh.
she or us as users cannot delete a record like that.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well,
Can you help me find it again? Where do I have to go?
I'll send you the link after the meeting. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do that.
Thanks. Thank you.
So did I miss anything? Did we cover everything? I think we do have some new business that we need to discuss after Katerina signs off, because it's related to her grant, and that would be a conflict to have her stay on during that discussion. So if we are done with the regular meeting, can I have a motion to adjourn our regular meeting, and then we will have our,
Hang on a second. So we are going to plan another meeting, right?
oh, sorry, yes, let's do that. Is April good for everybody to look at now, or?
Yeah, April is very good.
So I will be away the 17th till the, let me just check my calendar here. Hang on a second. I'm going to be away, a good portion of it. March, April. I'll be away the 17th. No, the 14th to the 22nd.
Are Mondays good for people? They're good for me.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how about the 24th?
That's good.
Yeah, works for me.
Hang on a second. Let me look.
Okay,
Like at
Yeah,
6.
Looks good to
That's
me.
fine
Okay.
with me too.
That was too easy.
Uh-huh.
This is
Yeah, what's going on?
Scary. Scary.
I know after the last time, if I get a date, I'm gonna stick to it, so we'll do that. Okay, so we have that meeting. It'll be, I guess we should decide tonight if we want to try it for Zoom or if we want to try it in person.
In person.
In person.
Okay, all right, we will do it in person. I will post that.
6 p.m. or what time would be good?
Does 6 work for everybody, or do people, is later better? 6 is
No.
good? Okay. 6 o'clock, April 24th, in person at Town Hall.
Super.
Okay.
Great.
Nice.
Okay. Okay, so are we going to motion to end this part of the meeting, and we'll say good night to Katerina and have our final session? We're good?
Yep.
Okay, Katerina, thank you, and we'll see
Thank you all.
soon.
Thank you, Katerina.
See you in April or maybe before. Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye.
So I didn't catch who made the motion
I did.
Okay, yeah,
and who seconded it?
I can second.
okay. So everybody's, I think, up to speed on what was going on with Katerina's program and what happened with the zoning and stuff. So I guess we don't need to rehash that, but she did come up with a great solution, which I think really works well for the community. She gets to share her music more than she was even planning to, so which is great. So did everybody get a chance to look at her revised program and budget?
Mhm.
Okay.
I did not study her. I did not study her revised budget. I just glanced at it.
Well,
Yeah, actually, maybe I should pull that up again. Hang on.
okay. I think what she did was she transitioned the fees a little bit because she doesn't have, yeah, I think that's what she told me. She transitioned the fees a little bit, but it all comes down to the same amount. So I think,
Okay.
But yeah,
That's
the
fine
two-
by me.
okay.
The
Yeah,
one
this
that
one
ends up at the same
Apple
amount.
fee.
Sounds good.
Oh, and she's doing a video recording and editing, which I don't think she included in her original plan when she was having it at her house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's really good because actually, and this is not an issue because it's at a public building, but things are supposed to be accessible. And if they're not physically accessible, they should be provided by a digital, for people who can't make it to an event. So I think
Ah,
that's great that she included that in this to have it video recording and editing. So, so yeah, it looked all good to me. I don't know if anybody had any questions or concerns. So do we have a motion to accept her change of proposal?
Well, I motion it.
Second, anybody?
second it.
And everybody's happy with this, it's all good, and we all say aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, we did pretty good. So I think we're all set. Anybody have any final comments?
But we have to pick someone to replace you when you go off this year.
Oh, I should have kept Ken on for that, I'm sorry. Well, we talked about Ken doing it the last time we talked about it, but I know he's a very busy person, so I'm not sure if that's still feasible.
Yeah, I'm not sure so feasible. I've just gone on a national board,
Mhm.
or this
Okay.
week, which was not planned when we talked last.
Okay.
So
I would nominate Peg. She has time.
When are you going off? Ellen?
It's the end of the summer, so before the next grant cycle gets started.
And how do we, I assume we'll recruit another member?
Yes.
Why don't we discuss that then in the next meeting and then Katerina can be there because then we still have time then, right?
Yeah, you're right. I should have spoken to her about that before she left.
Okay.
So yeah, so everybody sort of mull that over between now and the next meeting, and
Yeah.
there's still some time to make a decision about that, so.
That's
Great.
good.
Okay, all right, well,
Good
I think,
thinking, Tanya.
what's that?
Huh?
I said, good thinking, Tanya.
Well,
All
We're a
right.
great team. We really are.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you, everybody. It was a great meeting.
Thank you, Ellen.
thank you,
For
Ellen.
all your work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really
Need a motion
appreciate
to
it.
adjourn.
Amazing.
Need a motion to
Okay.
adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, second. Have a good
Okay.
night.
All right, good night, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.